Friends, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people making on social media, and it's costing them the audience they could be building, the brand they could be creating, and the money they can be making. So we gotta talk about this because you might be one of the people. Hey, I'm Jaleesa, wife, mom, coach, and strategist, and this channel is all about helping you create freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment in your work so you can live a purposeful and profitable life, because you deserve that. Friends, something I keep seeing on social media is that people are not doing enough of what feels natural to them. They're going against the grain, and I mean against their own grain, and they're copying strategies and tactics and tips and tricks from all the people who want to talk about the trending audios and the trends or whatever, like on social media, but they're not staying true to themselves, and this is costing them their audience because it's like you're not standing out, you're just trying to blend in with the crowd. At the same time, when you do things that feel natural to you, when you create from a place that just feels natural, it feels better. And by doing that, you're also able to be more consistent. You're able to show up better and show up more fully and be more of yourself. And that authenticity, that transparency, that vulnerability, that realness, that all comes through your content. Like, whether you believe it or not, that comes through. We feel the energy. Okay? And why is this? It's because in reality, like, none of the tips and strategies and tactics are gonna help you if you don't believe that you are the secret sauce. You are the differentiator. You are your unique value proposition. So when you are more of yourself, you naturally attract people who vibe with that. Like, you naturally attract people who really, really vibe with you on a soul level. You're the secret sauce. And if you don't believe that, like, there's no strategy or tactic or no blueprint, no 5-step process that's actually gonna help you. I'm just being real. So I wanted to talk about this because the other day I was talking with my coach and I was in a place where I was feeling stuck. Let me just explain. So anyway, I was feeling a little bit stuck with like my Instagram content because I really have been leading with like, I'm a YouTube coach and I help people with YouTube and things like that. But in reality, I'm so much more than that. And it's just hard. Everybody talks about niching down. But it's like, okay, when you niche down, we always want to categorize ourselves and call ourselves something. And I'm not saying that this is not beneficial, because obviously people need to be able to categorize you in some way, shape, or form. However, I have an issue where like I will let that title, like YouTube coach, it feels very confining to me. Like, titles make me feel very like boxed in, and I don't like that. I don't like that, okay? I don't operate well like that. I've learned that about myself by now. So I was explaining to her that like I don't really feel right saying like YouTube coach. And it's the same thing of when I transitioned from just talking about like YouTube ads, like, because that's what I was doing for my husband's business, and we were successful and it worked and things like that, but like it didn't really matter because I didn't want to lead with that. Like, I can do that for sure. Like, I have a skill set in teaching people about YouTube and teaching people about YouTube ads and even health and fitness. Like, I have a skill set in these areas, right? But I don't want to like call myself that. Now, I hope you can follow me here, because let me just tell you a story. So I was telling her how it just feels like, I can't like branch out, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like if I post something different, then I'm going against what I say that I do. You know what I mean? But the thing is that naturally in my Instagram stories, I just share what I do every single day. Like, I share bits and pieces of my day, and it feels good, it feels natural, it's very raw, it's very real. It comes easy to me, right? And we have to realize the things that come easy to us, the things that kind of just naturally flow out of our brains, out of our hearts, we need to lean into that, right? But I think we spend so much time leaning against that and like going against that because we don't really find the value in that, because we often don't see the value in ourselves and what we bring to the table and our gifts. So this is an issue that I see rampant on social media, because it's like there's not enough people being true to themselves and being real with themselves. And I think in order to see more of that, what does Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see. Like, we have to actually, you and me, we have to actually be more of that. I hope that makes sense to you. So I was explaining to my coach that like I love YouTube. I believe in the mission of YouTube and elevating people's voices and giving everyone a voice. I believe that people need to exercise their voice and they need to value their voice, right? And value their message and their story, and that their story is what helps other people through whatever it is they're going through, right? Because I really believe that we're all here to help other people. Like, with whatever gifts that we were given, we're here to use those to help other people, okay? Let's not get too deep. I really can't help it though. I personally can't help it, but let's not get too deep. But I really want people to understand. I want people to understand more about why I talk about YouTube, and not just about like YouTube tactics and strategies and like what kind of camera to use and when to post, what time of day to post. Like none of that really matters if you don't understand like the overarching reason, the why underneath all of that. Why is YouTube the vehicle for me getting my voice out there and building up my brand and things like that? Like, why do you believe that YouTube is the number one, you know? And that's more of what I'm shifting to talk about. That's how I'm going to differentiate myself from other YouTube experts and other social media experts and things like that. Because anybody can share a tactic or strategy. You can find those things like all over the internet, right? But not everybody believes in this the way that I do, right? Not everybody believes in your skill set and your expertise, your thing, the way that you do. And not everybody communicates it the same way that you do. So that's why your voice is needed, because you are called to serve and help and elevate the people that you are called to serve and help and elevate. And I'm called to help the people that I am called to help. You know what I mean? Like we got different callings, different peoples, okay? Like I can't reach your people, you can't reach my people. And that is what it is. It's okay. It's by design. So anyway, we're talking through that, we're working through that, we're mind mapping content out and things like that. And then it really hit me. And all the things we were mind mapping and my content pillars and things like that, they were all things that I was already talking about in my podcast. And my podcast, coincidentally, or not so coincidentally, is the place where I have the most fun right now. It's the place where I just get on the mic and I just talk. It just flows from me. And I've been consistent, a podcast, at least one podcast every single week since July 8th when I like launched my podcast initially. And I'm so proud of that. And now I'm at like 1,300 downloads. Like I just feel so good. I am my most authentic self on my podcast. So what I was struggling with was actually bringing that authenticity to YouTube. And well, I think I have been with my latest videos. You can check them out over here and over here. We'll link them in cards. But like, it really hit me like, okay, girl, your message is not congruent across all of your social media platforms. What's up? Why is that? Okay. And that's because I thought I had to do things a certain way to be successful on certain platforms, right? But listen, y'all, the people who are the most successful on these platforms are usually the people who are actually sharing who they are. Like they're actually sharing their authentic selves. They're sharing why they believe what they believe in. They're sharing their beliefs. They're taking a stand for something, right? And they're creating content in a way that feels natural to them. You know what I mean? And I realized like, Jaleesa, I am great at reels. I love them. I've been doing skits. They are fun. However, I'm really good with like going live. I think that the way that I can best communicate my value is by going live on Instagram. It's not through like a reel with little like pointing things and like a caption, because it'll be too long. Anybody gonna listen to that? Like, so I think the best way that I can connect and also convey like my value and articulate the things that I do is through live. And I realized that and I was like, Jaleesa, why aren't you doing that? So we need to ask ourselves these questions like, are we actually being ourselves? Are we operating in our gifts? Are we doing what feels natural to us, okay? And I don't want you to confuse this with like, let me just caveat, because a lot of times what feels natural to us is not doing the thing, okay? What feels natural to us is sitting in our comfortability and like not doing the thing and acting in fear, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what skills come natural to you, what gifts come natural, not so much what feelings, because feelings are fleeting and they're feelings, we should listen to them. Yeah. But like when we have those negative feelings and those negative Nancy thought patterns and things like that, we just push them to the side. If they ain't helping you grow, they got to go, okay? So I'm talking about what feels natural to us and our gifts. That's why I brought up how like I like being on video. I just like being on video. Like you can see me talk, you can see me move my hands, all those kind of things. And I would have never discovered that had I not been in my room in high school with a little camcorder recording videos to Destiny's Child. Like I was just doing it. I don't know. I just was doing it. Like it was a thing. Way before TikTok, way before Instagram Reels, your girl was making her own TikToks in her bedroom back when she was like 17 or maybe 16, 17, Listen, so I'm not new to this, I'm true to this, okay? And then I got on YouTube just to share my health and fitness journey. Why? Because I just thought it was the best platform at the time. I didn't know I was gonna be teaching this. I didn't know I was gonna start coaching from that. I didn't even know I was gonna build an audience. I just wanted to share my health and fitness journey because it just seemed right. It felt right, Bringing it back. When it comes to social media, think about what feels right to you about your social media. Like what feels right about the things that you're sharing? what comes naturally to you. Lean into that and do more of that. And let's look at this in the scope of like a friendship, right? Would you continue to be friends with someone where it just felt difficult to be friends with them? Like where it just felt difficult to build connection, to have a conversation, where it was always like a battle, where it was always like you have to tiptoe around this person's feelings and you don't really know how they're gonna feel one day or another. Like, would you stay friends with something like that? Like, would you be friends with someone where it didn't really feel natural? How do we naturally kind of connect with people? We just, you can build connections, but then those real strong, deep connections you build with people are the ones that like you just click. It's not based off of work, or it's like if you weren't in the same workplace or if you weren't in the same business, y'all would still be friends, right? Those are the best friendships. Like, let's keep it real. But my favorite book in the Bible is Ecclesiastes, right? And it's because it's just my vibe. So anyway, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 22 has always stuck with me ever since I went on a few years ago. I went on this whole thing where I was like, let me dive into the Bible, let me learn for myself, because I've never been super religious. I just want to learn more about God and get connected to God myself. I don't want to take anyone else's interpretation. You know what I'm saying? So I love Ecclesiastes 3:22. And what it says is that there is nothing better in life than for us to enjoy our work. That's a summary, but that's basically what it says. And I'm just a full proponent of that, because I feel like when we're loving our work, we are operating in purpose, right? We're operating with purpose, in purpose, on purpose. And we are helping others by using our gifts, because like what else? Like our work is not the work that we do, our jobs and things like that. It's like our actual work, like the things that we create, the things that we leave here after we're gone, like the impact that we make on different people, like that's our work. And a way to do that is using the vehicles of social media. So that's why I'm always talking about social media and YouTube and things like that. Another reason that we need to do more what feels natural to us is that most of us who are starting these businesses and building these brands, we don't have any extra time, money, or energy to do anything else that doesn't feel natural to us. We're already working in jobs that we don't like, that we show up every day just for a paycheck, right? We're already feeling drained at times, like in our home life and just keeping up with our day to day and just keeping up with different relationships and things. We don't got time to be doing this extra stuff. So why would you spend your precious time and your resources and the money that you save up after you pay your bills with your paycheck and work so hard at things that don't feel natural to you? Why don't we focus on really owning our gifts and strengthening ourselves in those areas? Like, why don't we focus more on what we're good at naturally, where our actual natural strengths are, than like bringing up our weaknesses? Like, it's just another way to look at things, right? And then to share that on social media and encourage others to do the same thing, because then, we're doing what that we love. We are living a life of fulfillment, right? And we're able to leverage our gifts. We can create digital products, we can create programs, we can package up our expertise, our genius, and make money and profit from that in a way that we actually like and feels good to us. I'm just saying. Okay, so this is what I want you to do now. I want you to write down all of your accomplishments, big or small. Do a whole brain dump, whip out a notebook, a Google Doc, whatever, get to work, and really think about this. Think about everything that you've overcome in your life. Think about challenges that you've had, transformations that you've created, or a big transformation. This can be big and small, like we do have those like significant stories where it was like really pivotal moments in our life, but then we also have little small day-to-day strategies like, okay, what am I gonna make my daughter for lunch today? Like, what is she actually gonna eat today? Like figuring out what to eat, what to cook for the family today, because they don't, there's different diets and they don't eat this and they don't eat that. Like, just things like that. Like all these things are other people will be able to relate to us on, and these are actual our actual real life. So when you can realize this and realize that, your stories are significant, whether they are big or small, and other people will be able to relate to them, right? And that's how you start to build your community and build your brand. Like, this all goes into it. Okay, after you do that, I want you to really look at these stories. Like, it's a whole brain dump. I know it's probably a little bit of a mess, but look at them and see what the overarching theme is. Like, what's the common thread between all of these stories and all of these moments and events in your life? For me, a lot of the challenges that I face come from not feeling like I was ever good enough or smart enough or, whatever enough. And always feeling like I need to prove myself. Like I had to prove myself in some kind of way. So I'm gonna work harder at this. Like I'm gonna prove you wrong, you know, things like that. And then also wanted to prove to myself that I'm good enough. And then from this exercise, I realized myself that when I go against my natural gifts, the things that come like natural to me, I tend to fail. I do. I try to do cross country running in middle school. I never even liked to run. In my whole entire life, I've never liked to run. That whole 1.5 miles probably seems like nothing for some of y'all, but for me, the way that I'm set up, I don't do things that I don't like to do. That's like big things like that. Like I do, you know, certain things around the house and things like that. I'm talking about like things like I did a whole season or 2, I forget how many, of cross country running, and I wasn't good at it and I didn't like it. But you know, there was this one race where I was like dead last. Me and this other girl were like dead last, and because I would run walk. I wasn't running the whole thing. I didn't care. I was not running the whole thing, right? So me and her were like dead last, but then my dad was like, you know, you saw her coming up behind you and you put the jets on and you just like zoomed ahead of her and you were like, you will not be last. Like I was so determined to like not be last, even though we were both kind of last, but I was like, I kicked it up into, I was so tired and like just exhausted, but like I kicked it up into high gear and it just ran, and like it didn't even matter because I was like, I will not be beat by you, okay? You will not beat me in this race, even though we both last. So that's just an example of like a challenge that I overcame that, you know, some people could probably relate to and find funny, but it's just about building connection. The purpose of this exercise is also to help you realize like how dope you really are. Okay, so now think back to those stories and think about what people kind of like naturally look to you for. Like, what do they naturally look to you to do or to create? Like, what do they usually ask you about? Like, what do they be like when somebody asks you like how to do something? What is that thing? You know, like your content can come from there. Like it probably should come from that place. What are the things that come easy to you? What skills just kind of like are you just naturally good at? Like me in school, my best friend from high school, she was so artistic. She was always good at art. Like she just draw, and her penmanship was like so amazing. Mine, trash. So I always remember that. Like I was always like, you know, she's the artist here. Like that was like her thing, right? Me, not so much, but what I am good at, I'm good at talking with people. I'm good at communicating with people. I'm really great at making people feel comfortable, make them feel connected, and making them feel seen and heard. And I'm really, really good at getting people to open up to me because I create that space for them, and it just comes natural to me. Like I enjoy I like people. Me and running, not so much. Even to this day, even when I was competing, I would just sprint. Like I just did sprints because I don't like to do distance running. It's just not my thing. And from doing my sprints and things like that, I would always win. Like I wouldn't number one like one time and overall. So let me just put that in there. But I would always place really high because like the way that I would train for my competitions was not like my coaches were telling me most of the time. It was not like other people also online were doing. It was how I chose to do it. And it worked better for me and my body. We need to be aware of what comes natural to us, what we're good at, what we're gifted at, and operate more in that. Especially on social media, because it's like for most of us, social media is not our job. Like it's not, you know what I mean? So it's like you're doing a job that you probably don't really like. So it's like, why are we doing more what we don't like? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And this is so important because this is how you start to uncover your gifts. There's a lot of you out there who feel like you're not gifted at anything, who feel like you're not good at anything, who feel like you have no purpose here. And that's the biggest lie ever. And it's a lie that you're gonna keep telling yourself and you're gonna eventually believe. And I don't want that for you. And if this video helped you, do me a favor and hit the notification bell so you can be notified the next time I come up with a new video. Thanks for watching.